Good morning, dear students. Today, we'll see the topics reading and writing. In the previous classes, we were seeing the LSRW skills. In that, we were touching upon listening and speaking. We were concentrating on the speaking skills. That is, you introduced yourself and you introduced your friends. That the assignment and the things that were given were stressing upon your speaking skills. And we also touched upon the listening skills, listening for specific information, and the four kinds of listening we saw. We saw about listening for specific information, predicting content, listening for gist, listening for points, and all we saw. Now we'll get into the topic of reading and writing. It's very, very important for your academic purpose. Let's get into the topic. Reading focuses on the comprehension skills of yours. Comprehension is your understanding skill. It ensures that you don't miss the point or the points being made in the article that you're reading. For example, you are given a newspaper article or a report or a short article is given to you for reading. When you read, what are all the necessary items or what are all the necessary details that you must look into will come under this particular lecture. When you read a newspaper or when you read a news article or when you read a fact-based information, what you must pay attention to, what you must be really stressing upon, that is what we will see in this particular class. With regard to reading a newspaper, report, or fact based article, you need to hone your skills in relation to skimming and scanning. For many, this term skimming and scanning is not really new. You know the word skimming and scanning. When you are reading, skimming and scanning are the two methods of reading. I'll detail that in the forthcoming slides. And the second thing that you will note is the diction and tone. And the third important thing is identifying topic sentences. So these three are very important for reading a report or reading an article. So what are the three? Skimming and scanning, diction and tone, and identifying the topic sentences. Okay. In the reading, skimming and scanning is very, very important. Coming to the basis for comparison, or how do you define skimming? Skimming is a way of reading something in a fast manner so as to grasp the main point. For example, you read the newspaper, you will be skimming, you will just give it a read in a fast manner as to grasp the main point. You will just, for example, you are reading an article on corona, you will just skim for the number of patients who are admitted or number of patients who are discharged or number newly admitted. Only these three things or these few things you will grasp your main attention. So that's called skimming. What is scanning? Scanning means look carefully and quickly at the written material so as to locate something. So skimming is a way of reading something in a very fast manner to grasp the main points. You have to understand the whole idea. For that, you are just reading the whole, you're not reading, you're just giving it a glance. And you are going to identify that. And what is scanning? Scanning means to look carefully and quickly at the written material so as to locate something. So you are looking for an information and you are finding it. You are locating it. So the major point of scanning is you are searching for something. Skimming is giving a general reading to grasp the main points. Then, what are all the methods of reading? In the method of reading, skimming is very quick, scanning is very selective. This is the two difference. Then, what it involves? Reading out the maximum content in minimum time. Skimming reads the maximum content in very, very less time. And scanning finds out the required data. So, in skimming, you read all the content and you just don't spend more time on it. And in scanning, you spend time and find out the required information. Then takes a bird's eye view of the text. The bird's eye view means an overall view. Skimming gives an overall view of the text. Scanning is to spot and cast specific facts. It is a very, very specific, and that's called scanning. Then familiar, the readers is not familiar with the text. That means in skimming, the reader, if you are reading a newspaper, you will not be familiar with what the article is all about. Just you are reading it. So in the new thing. But in scanning, the reader knows what he is searching for. So in scanning, because you're already, for example, you're reading an article about an accident. So that is, and for that, in that skimming process, you are very new to that, and you're reading it. But in scanning, if you have to find out what kind of car it is, or what kind of vehicle it was it a hit and run, or what was someone uh, dead, or was someone injured, or something happened, something else is the clue. So if you go about the details, so if you are searching for something, that's called scanning. Skimming is just reading the text in a very fast manner. That is skimming and scanning. Then moving on to diction and tone. So the first important thing in reading is skimming and scanning. Then you have to concentrate on diction and tone. What is diction? Diction is the word choice. For example, the author's word choice is called the diction. When writing, use vocabulary best suited to the goal and tone of the essay. So the choice of the words is totally dependent on the author's idea. He will use the words in order to convey his total idea in his words. Words that have almost the same denotation can have very different connotations. What is denotation means? Dictionary meaning. Connotation means implied meaning. So always use a dictionary and thesaurus when 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 writing. It will make you more aware of your word choices and what they convey. For example, if the author is intended to give a very funny episode, the word choices that he chooses will be very hilarious, very funny. He will convey that idea of funny items in his word choice. That's called as diction. The diction is totally the author's or the writer's intention. If he intends the article to be very funny, his word choice will be very in a very laughing, funny mood. He will write. Then moving on to the ways to characterize diction. For example, if it's an informal personal writing, you will use the word bug, but in the formal, you have to use it as germ. Informal, you can call people as folks, but informal, you have to call them relatives. Informally, you can call it a job, but in the formal sense, you have to call it a position. Informally, you can call someone as kid, but in the formal sense, you have to call them child. Informally, you call people as boss, but formally, they are your superiors. And informally, you can say get across, but formal communication, you have to say communicate. Okay. For example, he is crazy. When you say he is crazy, that means informal. The diction is informal, but he is a schizophrenic or insane. If you say those, it's a very formal communication. So the word choice itself will say whether it's a formal, personal, or informal communication. It is totally depending on the author's choice. Then moving on to tone, the attitude that the author takes towards the audience, the subject, or the character. It is conveyed through the author's words and details. So the tone, the attitude that the author takes towards the audience. For example, the author may have a very sympathetic outlook towards the audience, or he may be having a very a passionate attitude towards the audience, or he must have a very affectionate. So that is delivered through the tone of his writings. Moving on to the words that describe the tones. Positive tone is there, negative tone is there, and neutral tone is there. So positive is usage of words like optimistic, negative is pessimistic, neutral is detached or objective. Okay, positive is use of formal, informal, negative is informal, and neutral is authoritative. Then humorous, witty, amused, cheerful, joyful, jubilant, jocular, all these are positive tones, whereas sarcastic, ironic, critical, threatening, horror, foreboding, ominous, all these are negative. So this is the tone which the author intends to deliver to the audience. It is totally depending on the author's mindset. And these are all the words which will define the tone of the author. You can just go through this. Just you can pause the video and go through the words for the author's intention, author's tone towards the audience. You can just go through. Next, topic. Very, very, very important. The topic sentence is the top bun of a cheeseburger. Just imagine you're writing or the reading to be like a the paragraph to be like a cheeseburger. Okay, can you envisage this cheeseburger? How it will be layered in the same way. The top bun is like a top bun, or the topmost will be covered by the bun. The underneath will be covered, will be having a bun, and on the top also it will be having a bun. So in between you'll have different layers covering with whatever fillings you have, that will be in the middle part. The top sentence is like top bun of the cheeseburger. The topic sentence, the first sentence of the paragraph, it shows the main idea. So when you're reading, the topic sentence is very, very, very important. Even when you start writing an essay, or if you're going to write the answer, your first sentence in the first line is very, very important. If you're making so many mistakes and if it is not attractive or if it is not attention grabbing, the teacher would not feel like reading your answers. Isn't it so? You also, for example, you're taking an article to study. The first line itself is not interesting. How will you read the article? You will not read naturally. But if it is really interesting, if it's attention grabbing, you will be moved to read the full article. This is the importance of the topic sentence. Usually a mildly controversial statement, something that you have to prove, it can be as brief as 3 words. So it must be a controversial statement. So mildly controversial means only then, even if you've seen the YouTube videos or something like that, you can see the topics to be really very controversial. Something may be really very attractive and attention grabbing, but inside the videos will be of no use. The subject matter would be of no use, or it will be totally irrelevant to the topic. But the topic that they give will be so much attention grabbing, or the sentence that they give will be so much attention grabbing. This is the importance of the topic sentence. Hope you understood with the help of the YouTube thing. Then moving on to the part of the paragraph. Then moving on to the part of the paragraph, the topic sentence is the top one, and the supporting details are like tomatoes, lettuce, and meat. And the colorful vocabulary are like ketchup and mustard sauce and so many things. And concluding sentence is like the bottom one. Hope this parts of the paragraph you would remember this forever. Like if you just take cheeseburger, the top bun is the topping sentence. The middle, the vegetable, whatever meat or whatever it's there, it's called supporting details. And then the vocabulary that you're using, that will be like sauce, and the final concluding sentence will be like the bottom one. This is like this is how you describe the parts of the paragraph and also the cheeseburger. You can hope you can remember this. Then moving on to the importance of reading aloud. I don't know how many of you still have the habit of reading aloud. I've seen small kids only reading aloud, and as you grow older, you just don't read loud, and you all feel that when you read aloof, or when you read very calmly, silently only, you can remember. That's what you feel. But reading aloud has lot of importance and lot of values. What is it? It develops stronger vocabulary. When you read aloud, your vocabulary develops. It builds connections between the spoken and the written word. There is a lot of connection between the spoken and the written that is developing through the reading aloud. It provides enjoyment. When you read loud, you really enjoy doing it. It increases attention span. When you read loud, you don't get diverted easily. Your attention span is increased. It strengthens cognition. Cognition is understanding. It helps in the understanding. When you were a child, when you read loud, you remembered a lot and you were really good. But As you grew up, you stopped reading aloud and your attention span lessened and your thinking capability also lessened. So start reading aloud and just improvise yourself. Then reading aloud to students frees them from struggling with their vocabulary and decoding so they can enjoy the text and get into the book. So when you read aloud, you get one with it. For example, if I'm giving you the role play, for example, there's a drama for you, and each one of you, I'm asking you to take one character, and I'm asking you to read aloud. Why is that? It doesn't mean that I don't know anything. I want you to read. When you read aloud, you become that character. You just get inside the character, and you start enjoying doing that scene. And when you enjoy doing that scene, your understanding about that drama increases. For example, if I ask you to read a poem aloud, you can memorize few lines from it and you can understand the vocabulary, and when you read aloud your understanding also improves simultaneously. That's why we are asking you to read aloud. Reading aloud is a very good habit. Practice it. Okay, then coming on to the writing part. So far we were all concerned about the reading part. Coming to the writing is a very important part of your academics, also for your future. So writing can be in writing habit can better yourself in many ways. Mainly, start writing a diary. I don't know how many of you are writing diary. If you're writing diary really good, it doesn't mean only you have to write about your private affairs or something very personal. It is not like that. You can also write about your daily routine life also. Other than that, whatever experience that you have, whatever experiences that you come across, if you experience something new, something very thrilling, something very new, something very joyous, even that you can write. When you write that, that improvises your knowledge so much, and you start to use new vocabulary, you start to communicate in a better way. So start writing a diary. It's my small suggestion. Okay, diary writing is of a great significance in human life. It makes you a better person. For example, you made a mistake and you have entered it in your diary. You don't commit that mistake again because you've already it's registered. So you know it is wrong and you should not do it. And diary entries should not be like routine activities like, oh, I woke up at 5 a.m. and I had a bath, I prayed to God. All these are routine. More than this, your experiences. The journal or the diary should reflect your thought life. Your thinking should be there. Whatever you think must flow into words. As I said in my first bridge course classes, you have to think in English. That thinking in English should be poured out in the diary. Just take up a diary and start writing. For example, the day one from sentences, online learning, what all you learned, what all you miss. For example, you must be missing the real classroom atmosphere. You must be really missing the college going atmosphere, wearing a new dress and starting to move to college and coming back to home. All these experiences you must be missing. You can start writing that in the diary. All that can happen. Just take up a diary and start writing the entries. Then readers make the best writers. So you read a lot, that will make you the best writers. I would advise you to read a lot and start writing a lot. So your immediate exercise would be take up a diary and start writing the entries, start writing your experiences, whatever you face in life. And that would, when you read it after a few years also, you would feel really happy about it. And I hope you'll follow all these things and become a better person. Thank you, students.